Hi, I'm Linda Baker. I'm a transparent watercolorist and I'm going to do just a short demo for you on pouring. Here's a little sketch that I put together. It's a dogwood, a floral. Very easy to draw because it's not very exacting shapes. I've broken my sketch down into lights, mids, and darks. And that's very essential to any pouring process. If you have colors that are too close in value, a pouring won't work. Pouring is just another way of getting paint on the paper instead of using a brush. There are many ways of working. Pouring is one of them. So I have transferred my drawing onto a small piece of paper. I have masked out the whites of the paper with a colorless masking fluid. I don't prefer colorless, but I wanted to use it today to show you so that you'll be able to see the color go on nicely and you can see what's protected. I'm just going to show you one layer, but you would do your lights, pour, mask out your mids, pour, and then put on your darks. So right now I've already masked out my whites and I'm just going to, with clear water, wet my paper. I've mixed up 3 colors right here in these little bitty bins. And I'm going to use today, and this is how I recommend you start if you have not poured before, I'm using a yellow, a red, and a blue, which are the 3 primaries of the triad in color. And you can make almost any colors from these, and so it's a good place to start. You put a dollop of paint in the bottom of the little container, add water until it's the consistency you want it. A very thin consistency makes a very light pour. Thick consistency obviously makes a thicker, heavier, more opaque pour. And make sure the paint is mixed up very well. I generally start my pouring with the yellows, and I will generally work in a diagonal. It ends up not looking as stripy. So I'm just going to pour the paint right through the middle. Now for my next pour, I'm going to select the reds, and I'm going to mix it up a little bit, make sure it's mixed up. This red is very potent, a little stronger than it should be, so I'm going to be very careful. And I'm not going to put it over top of the yellow, I'm going to put it beside the yellow. This is important because if you put yellow, red, and blue over top of each other, you're going to get a very soft gray. But if you want some colors to hold, I put the colors beside each other, not on top of each other. So just a little bit of red. Whoa, oh, that's way more than I had in mind. Very small painting to work on. And then lastly, the blue. A little bit there and just a pinch up here. Okay, that's about enough. So now I do what I call melding, and you can just let the paint mix on the paper to make some different colors in the rainbow, the prism, and then when you've got it where you want it, you can just pour it right off onto the surface of your paper. I generally pour it at a diagonal because then I don't get the horizontal stripy. And you can see that we got a nice color mix. Now you can still play with it a little bit if you want to get your colors to mix a little bit better. And also at this point, sometimes I go back and do just one more layer of yellow. It's harder to get the yellows to hold than it is the other colors. So sometimes I do a little final pour of yellow. And so I can see I can get a little bit better oranges and some mixing colors through there. Drain it off diagonally again. And just like that, you have a small pour. A pour like this works really well for backgrounds. If you're going to do a large flower and you don't know what to do with the background and it's hard to paint around all those little shapes, you just mask your flower out, which doesn't take very much time. If you do that, be very careful with your masking. Very careful to stay within the lines on your masking. Remember when you use masking that you're actually painting with masking. So don't just take it casually like you're just going to put some masking on. You're actually painting with masking, and wherever you put it, that's where the shape will hold. But I think you can see from this, what I would do next on this is let it dry completely, add another layer of mask to my smaller shapes, and then pour them in a little bit darker, heavier consistency, and you'd get some darks behind it. And in 3 easy steps, you have a very nice floral. Thank you.